the ideal racetrack that defied competition, the beautiful 2 6/10 miles speed oval at Monza in northern Italy, was believed to be too fast for racing. The problem was rubber. Tires, they said, had failed in from 4 to 6 laps at sustained high average speeds over 150 miles per hour. High-banked parabolic curves up to 80% were designed to safely hold a race car at 175. This combination of long, wide straightaways and perfectly engineered curves, as seen through a passenger car windshield, was ideal in racing theory, but changeable Italian weather had roughened the surface and added severe bumps in the curves. Problem? To break the tire barrier, the automobile equivalent of the sound barrier for jet planes. Because of long experience and background in sustained high-speed race tire construction, an American company was invited to develop and prove a safe tire for the world's fastest racing oval. The Monza challenge was accepted. Tire experts, test car, driver, and crew were sent to Italy. The race of 2 worlds had already been announced. 10 top American and 10 of the best European drivers would enter the blue-chip competition. On test driver Pat O'Connor's broad shoulders lay the burden of tire proof. Could tires withstand up to 190 miles per hour on the straightaways and the terrific bumps and gravity pounding in the curves lap after lap? European drivers were already hedging. Past experience, they said, had proved otherwise. The racing world was waiting to be convinced. Pat was pouring it on. He was reaching for Fangio's 1-lap Monza record of 163.5, and he meant to have it. 4th lap, 165. After 16 laps, all over 164, O'Connor was called in for inspection. Tire technicians took over. Instruments measured inside and outside temperatures, tread wear, abrasion, and pressure buildup. Everything okay. He was off again for more mileage and at greater speeds. Hour after hour and day after day, the tests continued. The final proof was 77 laps at an average speed of over 165 miles per hour. And the tires? There was no indication of failure. It was international hero O'Connor with a new 1-lap world record of 170 miles per hour safely tucked away. Pat had smashed the so-called tire barrier, and the Monza 500 was proved tire safe. And Pat, what about the other American drivers? Man, they'll love it. The American cars and drivers arrived in Italy on schedule. 3 days of practice and qualification, and the big event. But something had happened to the proposed race of 2 worlds. The newly formed drivers' union had announced that their members would not compete. Indicated speeds, it was said, were too fast, and the race mass suicide. But preparations went on as usual. Wheels were aligned and balanced. Racing motors were tuned and pushed to the starting line for practice. There was rumor that a Scottish team would compete in 3 Jaguars. Italian driver Mario Boniggia is on hand with a Ferrari to give it a whirl. He handled well in the curves. Jean Béra, famous French driver, arrived with an especially built Maserati. Things were looking up. Ray Crawford was the first American entry on the track. He took to the novel track like a fish to water. The Ferrari maintained a torrid pace. Béra lead-footed the Maserati. A Jag follows. Here was real European competition. American drivers watched and hoped. Qualifying speeds had pushed over the 173 mile per hour average when Tony Bettenhausen fired up the Novi. He stroked the powerful engine for a lap or two, and then put his foot on it. He roared down the straightaway and ripped flat out into the high bank. .177 plus, a new world record for a closed oval race course. Race fans loved it. American officials were told by the track director that all foreign entries had withdrawn except the Scotch team of 3 Jaguars. With qualification speeds written into the record books, final preparations were underway for the big race. Paul Rousseau's Novi was eliminated when the flywheel on his car failed. 12 contestants were ready to start, 9 Americans and 3 Scots. Race day dawned bright, clear, and hot. Fans scrambled for vantage points. Tension mounted as the racing machines were pushed to the starting line. The race was divided into 3 equal sections, 63 laps each, with 1-hour intervals between segments for needed repairs. The distance, a total of 500 miles. The Indianapolis-type starting lineup, based on qualification speeds, placed Bettenhausen and O'Connor in the first row, followed by Linden, Veith, Sachs, Bryan, Crawford, Parsons, Ruttman, and in Jaguars, Lawrence, Fairman, and Sanderson. With powerful engines responding, the drivers followed the pace car. And they're off. Come through the north turn, and what's this? The Jaguar has pushed through the field and is leading the first lap. Out of the north corner again, and O'Connor has taken over with Sachs in second place. The banked curves, though rough, are no obstacle to all-out speed. Bettenhausen is into the pits with a broken throttle arm. After an emergency repair, Tony is again off and running. Bryan, driving a hard, steady race, is about to push into the lead. Bettenhausen is out permanently with broken shock absorber support rods. Bryan continues his relentless drive and is out in front. O'Connor, early leader, has had to reduce speed with suspension problems caused by the constant pounding. The Jags have been left by the American cars, but all 3 are still in the race. Bryan gets the checkered flag with O'Connor finishing second and Linden third. Veith coasted to the finish line. Severe vibration had broken his steering gear. He was through for the day. The American National Point champion is a happy man. It's 1 hour of needed rest for the drivers and hasty repairs for the race cars. Ten cars remain in the field. The air temperature jumps to 104 and the track temperature to 128 degrees. The sensational speeds and rough track have taken their toll in mechanical failures, but not a single stop has been made for tires. The pace car pulls out, followed by the lineup of cars in the order of finishing the first leg of the race. O'Connor, Bryan, Sachs, and Linden are charging for the #1 spot in the second section. All eyes are on Bryan and the big #1. He means to make it 2 in a row. Speeds are faster. They've got to be to lead in this contest. Bryan is clocked in 1 lap at a sizzling 175 miles per hour average speed in traffic. O'Connor is out of action with a leaking gas tank. Linden has gone with a broken frame, and Sachs has retired with a split hood and engine trouble. Bryan is in front and is steadily pulling away. The crowd senses a double win for the Phoenix, Arizona Flash. Bryan has lapped the entire field with the checkered flag only a few miles ahead. And he charges across the finish line. Congratulations are again in order for the happy cigar-smoking veteran. It's rest and get ready time again, with 1 more section to go for the big payoff. Only 8 cars have lasted through 2 sections of the race. Bryan, Ruttman, and Parsons are ready for the final assault. O'Connor has made emergency repairs on his gas tank, and Crawford is limping. The 3 Jaguars, though several laps behind, complete the field. They're up on the 3rd and final leg of the race. Word in the pits has it that Ruttman is eager. Parsons is still in the running, and the Jaguars are ready to take over if the Americans break down. And Ruttman is moving. The 1952 Indianapolis champ is leading. The pace is again pushed over the 170 mark with no let-up in sight. Parsons is keeping his position behind second-running Bryan. The duel continues with the Jaguars hanging in there. O'Connor has split his gas tank wide open again and is out. Crawford has quit with engine failure, narrowing the field to 3 Americans and 3 Scots. Ruttman leads Bryan by half a lap, and Parsons is a good third. Bryan, driving a smart race, has only to stay in the same lap with Ruttman to place first overall. He keeps the position with ease, and he crosses the finish line with both hands in the air and a cigar clenched between his teeth. The winner with a new world record. Although the rugged race had eliminated half of the starting field with mechanical and other breakdowns, there was not a single accident nor tire failure. Ruttman is happy with winning the 3rd section of the race and finishing 2nd overall. Parsons is 3rd. Bryan's time for the 500 miles is 3 hours, 7 minutes, 5 9/10 seconds, and his average speed 160.057 miles per hour. Bryan had accepted the Monza challenge and had won.